Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Dana with the Data. Today, we are diving into the explosive developments coming out of New York City mayor race. Yes, this is political thriller. Two emergencies press conference held this week, one by Mayor Eric Adams and the other by Zohran Mandandi. I hope I say his name correct. If I don't, my apologies. So let's get started with Mayor Eric Adams, right? So Mayor Eric Adams came out swinging on Friday, delivering what can only be described as combative, no holds barred defense of his candidacy. His central message was crystal clear. I'm in this race, and I'm the only one that can beat Mamdani.
Before we start, there's going to be no Q&A afterwards.
Why not?
We'll try.
No
Don't be
Q&A.
cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll ask the question.
First of all, thanks for coming out. And to New Yorkers, I want to speak directly to you. There has been so much speculation, communications, announcements of what I'm doing, no matter what I have stated over and over again publicly. So I want to be clear with you. Andrew Cuomo is a snake and a liar. I am in this race, and I'm the only one that can beat Mamdani. Andrew has had a career of pushing black candidates out of races. You've heard me say it over again. Carl McCall, Charlie King, David Patterson. This is his career that must stop with me. This city can't go backwards, New Yorkers. This is a city that I inherited, where crime was out of control, COVID, no one wanted to be on our subway system. We watched what happened in housing. The reason people are having these conversations is because I made this city safe. I committed myself and dedicated myself to a city that I love. And I'm going to continue to do that. This polo shirt that I'm wearing that says Eric Adams, Mayor of the City of New York, I'm going to wear that for another 4 years. We can't go backwards. We can't have a city that's filled with encampments like I inherited. We can't have a city where crime and guns are on our streets like I inherited. We can't have a city where unemployment was high across the city, but specifically for black and brown communities like I inherited. While children were not getting a quality education like I inherited. Where low-income people were not receiving the support they deserve like I inherited. What we have done in 3.5 years shows why we have to continue with the success we have. I have two spoiled brats running for mayor. They were born with silver spoons in their mouths, not like working class New Yorkers. I'm a working class New Yorker. They are not like us. They've never had to fight. They never had to struggle. They never had to go through difficult times like you and I had to go through, New Yorkers. This is such a pivotal and important period, and we have to get it right. And so there's a lot of reports that I'm in Washington on Monday. Those reports are wrong. I'm not. I'll be moving throughout this city in the 5 boroughs that made me mayor in the first place. I'm running for re-election, and I'm going to tell New Yorkers every day why I believe I should be the mayor of the city of New York in 2026. And yes, I hear the polls, I hear the comments, I hear the pundits, but those are the same polls that stated 8 weeks out that Andrew Cuomo was up by 36 points. And even his poll had him up by 10 points. Those are the same polls that stated he was going to walk into becoming the mayor of the city of New York, who he believes is a consolation prize because he made the determination to step down. I'm running, and I'm going to beat Mamdani, and I'm going to continue the success that this city has witnessed. And yes, there's many challenges. And yes, I hear it over and over again. It's almost Groundhog Day, folks. How many times have I been told throughout this journey to step aside, to surrender, to give up, to give in? That's the same thing we tell everyday New Yorkers. Everyday New Yorkers are not giving up, are not giving in, are not surrendering. So the mayor is not going to do that. The voters will determine who's the next mayor of this city. And I will respect the outcome from the voters. I love this city, and I gave this city my all. And I'm going to continue to give them my all every day. And New Yorkers, you'll decide. Do you want a working class mayor that's like you? One who struggled like you? One who lived in poverty like you? One who wondered where your next meal will come from like you? Or do you want two individuals who had it all and decided that the elitists would run this city and not a working class mayor? That's the decision.
What evidence do you have
Will you accept or reject the Trump offer?
What's your evidence that Andrew Cuomo
Why are
is
you
behind
afraid of
this?
taking questions?
So, listening to that press conference, Adams leaned heavily into the class warfare messaging, repeatedly emphasizing his working class roots. He dismissed both his opponents, Cuomo and Mamdani, as two spoiled brats running for mayor who were born with silver spoons in their mouths. Now, I have to agree with Mayor Eric Adams there, because we all know that Andrew Cuomo, he comes from a legacy of politicians. Look at his father. And if you don't do your research on Mamdani, because he is this radical socialist / communist, people automatically assumed he grew up poor or middle class or working class. But he too had a silver spoon in his mouth growing up, who never experienced poverty like Mayor Eric Adams. And that is what I call the communism grift. If you notice, you go to any communist country or you look at any communist leader, they didn't come from poverty. They are wealthy. They came from wealth, or they came from upper class. But because they taught socialism and communism, the people automatically assume that they come from humble beginnings, but they don't, which is one of the reasons why communism and even socialist society doesn't work. So this wasn't a subtle political positioning. Mayor Adams painting a stark contrast. Basically, they're not like us, right? That's like going to be the quote of the century. They never had to fight. They never had to struggle. They never had to go through difficult times like you and I had to go through. So he's relating to New Yorkers, and that's very important. I grew up in the tri-state area, so I know that the majority of the people there are either middle class, working class, or poor, right? So he directly asked the voters, do you want a working class mayor that's like you? One who struggled like you, lived in poverty, wonder where their next meal was going to come from? Or do you want two individuals who had it all, right? And that goes to show, when he poses those questions, basically, can they relate to your needs? Or are they going to take advantage of you, right? So why coming from the middle class matters, especially in New York City, is do or die. If you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't work, you don't eat, and you're going to be homeless out in the cold. Majority of the people that make up the 5 boroughs, it is very diverse. but the majority are middle class, working class, and the poor. The wealthy is less than 1%, but it is the wealthy that create jobs, that pays a lot of taxes, but they're also the cause of the increase in rent. So relating to the middle class is very important in a candidate, because you are presenting yourself as a statesman instead of a politician. And there's a difference between the two. So Adams systemically defended his tenure, arguing that critics forget the city he inherited from de Blasio. He listed all of his accomplishments: reducing crime, improving the subway safety, addressing unemployment in Black and brown communities, and the way he handled the COVID recovery. His message was simply, we can't go backwards. And he's absolutely right. He cannot go backwards. He painted a picture of the city in crisis when he took office. Crime was out of control. No one wanted to be in a subway system. The city was filled with encampments. And then he concluded with a memorable vision, holding up his polo shirt that reads, Eric Adams, Mayor of the City of New York, declaring, I'm going to wear that for another 4 years. Well, here's the thing. This is what's going to hurt Mayor Eric Adams. The migrant crisis. The migrant crisis is going to hurt, but he could recover from it. Here's why. Because when he talks about he inherited a city that was filled with crime, the subway systems were unsafe, the city was filled with encampments. Well, that sounds like the last 2 and 3 years under the Biden administration and in the city of New York, when the influx of those millions of illegal migrants flooding the sanctuary cities, and New York City being one of ground zero. He's going to have a problem getting people to forget that he put up illegals in 5-star hotels, gave them credit cards, food stamps, health insurance, education, mopeds to drive around the city to get jobs, to get to their job, rent free. He gave these illegals, the city and the state of New York gave these illegals all of these incentives, to whereas the New Yorkers were trying to, who can't make rent, and rent is still going up high. The subway systems has been, criticized this year of being unsafe, to where they did have to send in the National Guards. Now, he was the only mayor out of all the sanctuary cities to push back against the Biden administration. And that is what can save him to overcome the illegal migrant crises, right? That people will not forget. He pushed back. And that is why the Biden administration threw him under the bus and created those trumped up, federal corruption charges against him. Because he was the only one that said, listen, I can't take any more. Enough is enough. You're breaking our city. So I give him a whole lot of credit for actually finally having a backbone to the Biden administration. Of Mamdani was this past week, either Wednesday or Thursday. And the reason why he held this press conference is because he got hold of a rumor that Mayor Eric Adams was going to drop out of the race to take a job with the Trump administration. And that just wasn't true. So he jumped the gun to hold this press conference because he was nervous. Because if Mayor Eric Adams dropped out of the mayor race and endorsed Cuomo, Mamdani would lose hands down. So, and this came hours after these rumor reports surfaced of a potential Trump administration job to Mayor Eric Adams. And this Democrat nominee, Zohran Mamdani, called his own emergency press conference. His tone was different from Adams. He was nervous and scared. Mamdani framed this as nothing less than an attack on democracy. This is an affront to our democracy, an affront to what makes so many of us proud to be Americans, that we choose our own leaders. Not that they get to pick themselves, not that they get to be picked by the President of the United States. Well, Trump has nothing to do with the mayor race in New York City. As a matter of fact, Trump has yet to endorse any of the New York City mayor candidates. Because if he was going to endorse someone, he would have endorsed Adams. And that hasn't happened. Now, maybe Trump down the line would come out and endorse Adams, and I hope he does. But Trump hasn't even said a word about the New York City mayor race. But Mamdani didn't hold back his criticism for Trump. He systemically listed Trump's actions that he argued hurt New Yorkers. Detaining a 6-year-old girl from New York City public school, cutting SNAP benefits, and threatening to remove millions from health insurance. Those are all lies. Because you know who he's talking about? He's talking about the illegal migrants. That is who he's talking about. Illegal migrants that should have never had SNAP benefits, that should have never had health insurance. And as far as removing an underage 6-year-old girl from the public schools, they placed those children with their parents. So his central argument was that Trump is now seeking to undermine the very fabric of this city. So this wasn't just about electoral politics. Mamdani positioned it as a threat to New York City autonomy, which is all BS. He was scared because Trump would have came in, allegedly, give Adams a job, Adams swing his support to Cuomo, then that's the end of Mamdani's run for mayor.
I am angry. I'm angry because so often we think of this solely in terms of the dynamics of politics. But the reason that so many New Yorkers are fed up with politics as they know it is because of news like this. Backroom deals, corrupt agreements, all of which serve to increase the sense of disaffection and despair as it pertains to how people feel about politics across this country. And to know that having defeated Andrew Cuomo by 13 points, having won the votes of close to 600,000 New Yorkers, has only been understood by that former government as an invitation to collaborate with Donald Trump. It showcases why New Yorkers are so eager to turn the page on this kind of politics.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Which job in the Trump administration?
George Soros, the Nazi war criminal.
You know, I honestly don't have an answer for you. Because I honestly don't have an answer.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Which job in the Trump administration?
George Soros, the Nazi war criminal.
You know, I honestly don't have an answer for you. Because I could not even write into a script. And yet we know that it's no laughing matter. New Yorkers are being priced out of the city that they call home. They are being priced out of the most expensive city in the United States of America. And a Trump administration is an administration that is making it all the harder to live here. And in that moment, for the response of City Hall, for the response of leading candidates for mayor to be thinking about how to work with that administration to prevent the will of New Yorkers, it shows just how disconnected these people are from the crises at hand for the same people who call the city home.
Mr. Mamdani. Yeah. Even with this happening. Go right here, Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff, yeah.
So there'd still be an election. I mean, this is not illegal to drop out of the race. You called on Mayor Adams to resign and not to run for re-election. So I just don't see, if this is working within the political system if they were to drop out. So what's the issue?
The issue here is the motivation at hand. The issue is a former governor, a Democrat in name, calling the president of this country, having a conversation with the intent of how to stop the Democratic nominee's success in the November election. That is what we have not seen before. We have not seen a president of this country seek to fundamentally alter the nature of a race, all with the intent of preventing the Democratic nominee from succeeding. I have no issue facing Andrew Cuomo one-on-one. That's exactly what he wanted for so many months in the primary, and we gave it to him, defeating him by 13 points. My issue is that in this moment of crisis, in this moment where New Yorkers, many of whom are living in fear either of being priced out or being picked up by masked agents in unmarked cars, that the response from so-called leaders would be to work with that administration to subvert the will of the Democrats of this city.
But you're not worried about the polling that shows Cuomo could beat you in a one-on-one race?
If I was worried about polling, I wouldn't be the Democratic nominee.
All right, we'll go to 1010 and then Josie over here.
Thank you. So even if this is allegedly happening, how confident are you then that you can still defeat Cuomo?
I am just as confident today as I was on primary night. We defeated Andrew Cuomo despite polls showing him winning that race for months. And we didn't defeat him by a small margin. We defeated him with the most votes of any primary winner in New York City history. And we did it because we saw these kinds of actions for what they were. This is why so many New Yorkers stay home. This is why so many New Yorkers look at politics as if it has no relationship to their actual struggles. Because how else to describe the president speaking with the mayor and the former governor about how to make this race the one that they deem the most difficult for me? I don't care about who we will face in November. We'll beat them all. It's the question of how we can actually stand up for this city, and the fact that I'm here talking about other Democrats. I mean, what do these people actually stand for besides?
So here's the thing. If you are so confident that you can beat your opponents in November, why are you holding a press conference over a rumor? And that rumor is Trump is going to give Mayor Eric Adams a job and Mayor Eric Adams is going to drop out and support Cuomo because you're scared. You're either confident or you're not. And holding a press conference over a rumor shows us that you're not confident that you can win and beat Mayor Eric Adams or Cuomo.
That I have for them.
Yeah, Josie.
How are you? What's your message here to Mayor Adams? Do you think he should stay in the race, or do you think he should take the job from Trump admin?
I don't think anyone seeking to represent the people of this city should be taking a job with the administration that is making it harder for the people of the city to afford the place that they call home. You know, I've made it clear, as Jeff pointed out, close to a year ago, my thoughts as to Eric Adams and this race and the charges that he was facing and what he owed it to New Yorkers. Clearly, that didn't mean much to him then. My issue is the work that is taking place right now in these kinds of conversations, in these kinds of meetings, to subvert the will of Democrats across the city, all in the interests of Donald Trump.
All right, we got Jeff right here. Zohran right here.
Yes, they do.
Do you think there are any sort of ethical issues here? Do you see this as a sort of quid pro quo?
I don't know who his PR person is or who his campaign chief of staff for his campaign is, but that was bad guidance and bad advice to tell him to do a press conference off of a non-confirmed rumor. Because 2 days later on Friday, Mayor Eric Adams, he came out and said, I'm not taking no job. I never was even offered a job. I'm not dropping out of this race. Cuomo is a snake and a liar. And that's where the rumor came from. But Mamdani here, he's scared and he's weak and he lacks confidence. This is why you cannot trust him, because he lacks confidence. He has a battery on his back from Al Sharpton's, from the George Soros and his communist socialist ideology. But he is very insecure and he is not built. He is not built to lead the city of New York and the 5 boroughs. He's not. So you was taking questions, putting Trump name all up in and out your mouth over a rumor that wasn't even true. Where are your sources at? Why didn't you fact check if that was actually true or not? So Mamdani got played. And that is what seasoned politicians do. They know how to throw something out there and hide their hand. So you don't know it came from them, but they throw something out there and hide their hand, and they let their opponent go crazy trying to scramble and figure out what it is and what this person is trying to do. Deflecting, so that we can now see your true composure, your true self. And you're scared and you're insecure. And that is not what people need to be voting for as mayor of New York City. Now, because this man had Trump name all up in his mouth, like he was teabagging, in a stunning escalation of federal interference in New York City politics, President Donald Trump has now directly inserted himself into the mayor race, launching a blistering attack on Democrat nominee Mamdani. Speaking at a tech leaders event this week, Trump didn't mince words about his preferred outcome of America's largest city. Trump's statement was as blunt as it was unprecedented.
President Trump speaking at an event with tech leaders, taking questions on a variety of topics, including the New York mayor's race we just talked about. Trump blasting the Democratic nominee, one of the Democratic nominees, Zohran Mamdani, as a communist. Take a listen.
No, I don't like to see a communist become mayor, I will tell you that. And I don't think you can win unless you have one-on-one, because somehow he's gotten a little bit of a lead. I have no idea how that happened, but I'd prefer not to have a communist mayor of New York City. And, you know, that's what he is based on his policy, if you look at his statements in the past. So I would like to see two people drop out and have it be one-on-one. And I think that's a race that could be won.
So the most telling from this clip is when Trump outlined his preferred electoral strategy. Quote, I would like to see two people drop out and have it be one-on-one. I think that's a race that could be won. But who are the two people that he's talking about? It has to be, I forgot his name, the guy who's running as the only Republican. He was a former guardian angel, or he still is. And of course, Zohran Mamdani, because he's a communist, right? Or alleged communist. So then it would be Mayor Eric Adams and Cuomo. I think that's the race that people want to see and people deserve to see. Mamdani, you know, he inserted himself in this race because he has the financial backing. And he is willing to push that liberal Democrat agenda that is going to do all types of harm to New York City and the boroughs. Now, I'm not saying that Trump isn't, you know, probably pulling the strings in the background, but you should, you know, don't make yourself be seen up in the front. However, I think eventually Trump is going to have to come out and endorse someone for the New York City mayor race. But that someone will have to be Mayor Eric Adams. That's the only person that makes sense. He doesn't really like Cuomo, but it's not about who you like and who you don't like. It is about business, but it's about the business of New York. So who is the best person that President Trump can do business with in that city? That will be Mayor Eric Adams. Cuomo is linked up with the DNC. Mayor Eric Adams has shown, one, he is working class for the people because that's where he comes from. He knows how to play the political game. He knows how to make deals, deal with the wealthy, make them be happy, but also deliver something for the people, for the New Yorkers, the people that make New York, New York, right? So he knows how to play both sides of the fence. And he's more of an independent thinker. He's more logical. He is about, let's make a deal. And that's very important. So if Trump is going to endorse someone, it is definitely going to have to be Mayor Eric Adams. So in conclusion, these two press conferences reveal a mayor race that has exploded beyond typical political boundaries. We have a sitting mayor fighting for his political life, calling for his potential opponent a snake and a liar, rightfully so. We have a Democrat nominee claiming the president is trying to manipulate the race, but he just so happened to be not even an undercover communist, right? A communist in disguise. And we have allegations of backroom deals that could reshape New York City's political future. The question now is, will New York voters see this as a democracy under threat or politics as usual? The answer may be determined who leads America's largest city in 2026. And my vote is for Mayor Eric Adams. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Dana with the Data. Please share this video, like this video, and comment below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Dana with the Data. Dana with the Data.